Jen behind the camera. We are on the way to Flint, Michigan. It's like I live on this highway here. This is lucky trip number 10 to Flint, and this trip I think will be a memorable trip. Today is Monday, Memorial Day, and tomorrow we're going to try to make some memories. We have a piece coming out that will be published in the afternoon that I've been working on for quite some time. It's not a piece for the ADD generation. It's definitely a bit longer. It's very, very, very deeply reported and fact-checked and researched. I've spent many weekends reading EPA regulations and digging through documents. And really, in a nutshell, I think that the piece that I've written that's getting published will prove pretty clearly that the science and the engineering and the narrative that's been offered by the EPA, by the state of Michigan, as well as some scientists that are funded, are not worth the paper they're written on. I think that it's going to prove very clearly that residents are still in grave jeopardy and potentially drinking contaminated water. Obviously, the mainstream media and the corporate media has essentially abandoned Flint for 2 years. I mean, ever since Trump came on the scene, they stopped worrying about it or caring about it. So I think it's, for me, it's a subject and a story near and dear to my heart, because it's really not only about the people of Flint. Of course, that's the city and that's the water, but it's really just about what kind of country are we? Are we a country that poisons its citizens, whether intentionally or unintentionally? That's debatable. But then just kind of lets them fend for themselves because they're poor whites, poor blacks. They don't have lobbyists, and then we kind of cherry pick the science and cherry pick the math to say, oh, the lead levels are fine now. I think my story will clearly show that it's reckless to declare the water safe, which is what the governor of Michigan has done. And it's that declaration that gave him the reasoning to shut down the water pods that residents in Flint could go to for the last 2-3 years to get bottled water because their water wasn't drinkable. So the governor, citing the same exact testing that my story will go to expose, said, oh, well, testing shows the water's fine now, and they shut down the pods. Well, Flint's 45% impoverished. People can't afford bottled water, so now they're forced to drink tap water that the city and the state are claiming are safe, but I think my piece will show is not safe, even if they're drinking it with a filter. So this is not a sensational story. It's not Trump tweeting something ridiculous or, mocking Kim Jong-un's, button, and the size of his button is bigger. It's not a sensational tweet, but this is life or death we're talking about for the people of Flint. And I think Flint is a microcosm and a symbol for what is the playbook for government in other communities that have environmental contamination, environmental poisoning. If the government gets away with fudging the data, fudging the science, and fudging the narrative to say, oh, Flint's fine, that's going to give the playbook to all these other communities where you're starting to see water contamination, whether it's lead poisoning, whether it's whether it's chemicals that cause cancer that we're starting to see pop up. So the story will be out tomorrow. I will be sending it out to every media outlet and then some, and I will have a story to tell you about the outlets that said no to the piece, because there were many, and why they said no. Take a guess. Donald Trump, or not being involved with Donald Trump. The story was not linked to Donald Trump or Putin, so they weren't particularly that interested, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm excited. We're going to obviously interview residents in Flint to give you the most up-to-date of what's going on here. Like I said, it's a crisis. It's not covered that way, but it is a crisis. There was just a donation made by, I think, a nonprofit. They sent in 150,000 bottled water, cartons of bottled water. The lines for this area that they had the donations were around the block. So it's still a man-made crisis that the government, the mostly white, wealthy government of Michigan, with the federal government, obviously this started under Barack Obama, has certainly been not made better by President Trump. Basically, they are kind of hoodwinking the rest of the country into thinking this problem is over and the lead levels are back down. So definitely make sure you click on the bell on YouTube. And when you click on the bell, what are they got to do?
They keep hitting it until it says
all notifications. You got to make sure you clicked on all notifications so you get all notifications when I go live on YouTube. I even hear, even if you click on all notifications, it doesn't always notify you. So definitely click all notifications. Definitely follow my Twitter at Jordan Chariton, my Facebook, facebook.com/Jordan Chariton. Be vigilant this week because I'm going to be updating you when the story's out, and you know, I might be doing some media appearances to talk about the story, and obviously I'm going to be going live as much as possible here to interview residents. So thanks for watching, and if you want to help support this trip, because the car we're in, I'm paying out of my pocket. The hotel we're staying at right now is mostly out of pocket. We've been doing trip-by-trip sponsorship. So right now, I think our goal is to hit $2,000. We've hit 44% of that goal so far.
Yeah.
So we've hit 44% of that goal before we even got here. So I'm hoping we could get to that other 56% so the trip is completely covered. This is funds you're contributing so we could pay for, you know, the gas in the car, hotels for a couple nights, food obviously, and the flights. So thank you so much. That's right now, that's the plan. We are obviously looking for bigger funding, which I'm hoping this story helps get the kind of reporting I want to do, and I want to hire other reporters to do out there to as many people as possible, so we can start getting some acceleration on launching the media company we want to launch. So it's jordanchariton.com/sponsor. Jordan, woo, that asshole. jordanchariton.com/sponsor.
We'll try to stay alive.
Your contributions, $5, $10, $20. Some people have been leaving $50, $100. Thank you so much.
And some $250.
Oh yeah, somebody left $250. Thank you so much. I mean, honestly, this is how we're doing it, grassroots. So it's, you know, obviously there's political candidates that people have been contributing to. So it really brings me a lot of hope that people see the crucial need for real journalism on real issues. You know, Bernie said, stop the gossip. We need to talk about real issues. Well, that's what I'm trying to cover. So jordanchariton.com/sponsor. Go there, put in your information, whatever you could leave. And of course, if you're not a Patreon, you could subscribe on a monthly subscription to get my podcast, my video diaries. We'll definitely have behind the scenes stuff here, only for patrons. And that's patreon.com/Jordan Chariton Reports. Peace out.